That night, the moon was at peak intensity. There was zero chance of missing a pedestrian on that road. So explain this to me. Why did Faithe Ely end up in a fetal position on the cold asphalt? Faithe Morgan Ely was born on June 24, 1997, in rural Oklahoma. Her world was her mother, Amanda Langston, and her sister, Caitlin Alderman. She was a single mother to 2 young children, ages 3 to 6. She was always on the clock for those kids, using her art as a tactical escape from the stone-cold weight of everyday life. But every life hits a wall. In 2020, her brother Stephen Ely died, and the void sent her into a spiral with substances. Reportedly, because she feared her struggle would bleed into the safety of her kids, Ely checked into a rehab clinic in California between 2020 and 2021. During that window, she was a face at a cafe in Wewoka, a small town in Seminole County where anonymity doesn't exist. But after she was gone, her family and independent auditors pushed back against the initial narrative. They went back to that cafe to find the threats or the harassment that the first investigation ignored. That intel never hit the public record. But when Amanda Langston warns you to know who your neighbors are, it means they found a trail in the dead zone. March 2021 was a quiet stretch. Faithe was splitting her time between the peace of Wewoka and the heavy pulse of Oklahoma City. Everything was normal until the ground gave way on March 28th. That Sunday morning, March 28th, Faithe met Amanda to receive a memorial for her brother. The rest of the day was calm until the dark took over. That night, she headed to a house near Highway 56 in Wewoka for a barbecue. Highway 56 is a rural artery, a stone-cold dead zone with no light and zero camera coverage. Faithe was reportedly laughing and having a good time, until, according to her boyfriend, an argument broke out. Allegedly, she walked out onto Highway 56 on foot to cool off. Between 15 to 25 minutes after she stepped into the dark, the boyfriend reportedly heard the sound of a speed bump. He went out looking for her and found her lying on the road. At 8:30 p.m., the boyfriend's mother reached the scene and dialed 911. 6 law enforcement agencies responded to the scene, and according to reports, this is what they found. Faithe's body was in a fetal position, which is a massive red flag because high-speed impacts throw bodies into chaotic, disorganized states. The injuries were severe, but they were stone-cold selective. Records indicate multiple rib fractures and ruptured vital organs. According to independent investigators, this pattern forces you to question the high-speed accident narrative. Usually, those impacts cause comminuted fractures, bone shrapnel, and punctured lungs. But here, the evidence is void. The most suspicious detail is the total lack of road rash, that friction burn caused by skin sliding across the asphalt at high speed. Her clothes were intact, showing zero damage. That's not just strange, it's a protocol failure in the official story. Over the following months, the investigation split into 2 separate paths. One led by official investigators Trooper Tim Baker and Lieutenant Dustin Thornton. The other was driven by the family and independent auditors. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, the OSBI, concluded it was a hit and run, but that conclusion is a dead zone. During the first months, the OSBI asked for the public's help to find a white truck driver. Surveillance allegedly showed the vehicle at the scene at the time of death. But there is a fatal flaw here. Forensic computer specialists and video auditors spotted temporal anomalies. In Wewoka, the surveillance systems were low fidelity, lacking synchronization with network time protocol, the NTP servers. Independent audits concluded that the timestamp on a primary camera was misaligned. Therefore, It is impossible to know if that white truck was recorded before or after Faithe was killed. The crime scene itself contradicts the official story. Highway 56 allows speeds up to 70 miles per hour. At that speed, Faithe's body would have been launched into a chaotic flail position. Finding her in a fetal position is a physical impossibility for a high-speed crash. In death, a fetal position often points to a victim trying to protect themselves. But from what? What was a threat to Faithe that night? Her injuries were grave, but the skin lacked the expected lacerations. Her injuries are more compatible with crushing, a slow weight, rather than a sudden impact. A hit at 70 miles per hour causes abrasion burns, tissue removal, internal decapitation, and massive vehicle damage. It melts clothing onto the skin. Therefore, the vehicle's speed was significantly lower than the official version. An impact at 70 miles per hour would scatter debris like glass and polycarbonate across a 164-foot radius. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol found nothing. Therefore, there was no violent impact between a vehicle and a body. There was no paint transfer. All these facts scream that the official narrative is a void. So what really happened? Let's look at the facts. Faithe's injuries were described by experts as localized and inconsistent with a hit and run. They were precise, not random. They were intentional. The lack of road rash makes a physical struggle much more likely. During statements, the boyfriend described the sound of a vehicle hitting a speed bump. But Highway 56 is a stone-cold dead end for that story. High-speed arteries do not have speed bumps. A more likely explanation for that sound is the ribcage being crushed. A violent impact makes a dry, loud crack followed by shattering debris, not a muffled thud. This leaves two options. Either the boyfriend lied, making him the primary person of interest, or this was a staged hit and run. In the time Faithe left the house, the distance she traveled wasn't enough for her to vanish or for people at the barbecue to miss her screams, unless the aggressor intercepted her immediately. After the kill, someone likely tried to sabotage the investigation by driving over her at 25 miles per hour, which is exactly what the data shows. According to astronomical data, on March 28th, the moon was in its brightest phase, the worm moon, illuminated between 98.2 and 98.5%. Weather records show zero fog. Even at 70 miles per hour, a driver would see Faithe from over 328 feet away and hit the brakes. No skid marks were found. Therefore, the act was intentional. The fetal position suggests she was attacked and took a hit to the head, giving the aggressor time to drive over her. If those ribs broke post-mortem, the homicide theory becomes a reality. But questions remain in the void. If she was neutralized immediately, did anyone else step out of that house? During the argument, did anyone notice it was crossing the line? Did the truck pass before or after the crime? Today, the case remains wide open. The official investigation is still grinding, and the family launched a movement called Justice for Faithe on Facebook. We have to back this movement. We cannot let this death become just another ghost on a cold case list. The science shows the official story is a void. Something doesn't fit. What do you think investigators neglected? Drop your audit in the comments. Every interaction pushes this video further and keeps the hunt for justice for Faithe alive. Subscribe to JDAL Investigation. Stay on the ground for the next update on this case.